All right. How's everyone doing? I'm Rich CELENZA. Thanks for tuning into the Rich CELENZA Show. WTF are you talking about? So, what I want to call this podcast is Getting Stronger is a Game Changer. So, if you know anything about my podcast or my YouTube videos or anything, I talk a lot about fitness, getting stronger, not only physically but mental strength as well, and many different things regarding exercise and fitness and shit. Just my own perspective. I've been working out for, basically my entire life. If you listen to anything that I do, you're going to probably know that by now. But if not, I've basically been working out since I was like 5 years old. I started lifting weights very seriously at a young age, maybe 12, 13. I get confused around that time. It's been so long now. And what I want to talk about today is really trying to help people realize by getting just a little stronger physically is going to really have an impact on you that you may not realize unless you do it. So, when I was younger, I was always kind of the strongest for my size, but I was always the smallest. I was kind of the runt, but I was around a lot of big, strong, older men. My father was pretty strong, but my uncles, my cousins, everybody was just bigger than me for the most part. On one side of my family, they were all older and very athletic, a lot of them, and just did a lot of athletic things. A lot of my family members were into boxing, wrestling, water skiing, swimming, and lifting weights. Even back then in the 70s, which was quite interesting, a lot of my family members on both sides of my family, mother and father, they just really loved sports, especially football. They didn't play tennis as a family. Basically did everything, I would say with the exception of soccer. But I loved athletics. I loved sports. So did my mother and father. My father was a really good athlete. I think he even was the Golden Gloves champ, or it was for his weight. He was a heavyweight, but he was really good at boxing. And put that all aside. So I grew up in an environment where sports and being strong was part of, everyday activity. And I love that. But what happened with me is I think I started to build a complex because I was so small and everybody else at least looked so big to me. And what was interesting, I always called it reverse anorexiism. I mean, I've been calling it that for like 20, 30 years. What was interesting is I just watched a video on YouTube. Batista, is that his name? The wrestler. Yeah, what is he, half Filipino, half something else, American for all I know. That guy, he's a giant, he does films now. And they said he called it reverse anorexiism, and I was kind of quite shocked at that. I thought I came up with that, and he's been saying it as well, but I didn't know enough about him to rip it off. But I think he knew like I did that, is no matter what, we got to the point where we were never big enough or never strong enough. And I think that's what pushes us to become bigger and stronger and stronger. And that's what I think a lot of people who excel in sports sometimes, it's kind of pushing you. So even if you're a boxer a lot of times, you want to be the biggest badass, or MMA or whatever else. It could be taekwondo, jiu-jitsu, whatever. I think there's something inside us that wants to be better, stronger, faster than somebody else or everyone else, especially in our weight division. I sucked at boxing, but I was really good at wrestling. And what I want to tell people too is, so you got that backstory, but what I want to talk about is a lot of people don't realize by just doing something physical and building some strength. Now, I'm not asking you to become obsessed with weightlifting like I did, or try to get big, super strong, unless that's what you want to do. Okay? But I think a lot of people that don't work out, or who have never worked out, kind of want to work out, but they're almost afraid to do it because it would change their identity. I also think they're insecure. They're afraid to go to in a gym or play any type of sport. I also think, they're scared to a certain point. I understand that as well. Or they think if they go to a gym or they're doing these things, you're going to be considered a jock. Or whatever the case may be. Something is holding them back from doing something I think that a lot of people want to do, working out. And I've seen this especially through junior high, say high school, even people that go to college, but when they get older as well, they've always wanted to do something. They just never got around to do it. I also think they've never really surrounded themselves sometimes with people that work out a lot. And I know that I remember when I was making films, a lot of actors I'd run across, which I think it's changing now, but a lot of them were more, writers, directors, producers, actors. And they weren't into working out. They knew I worked out just because of my size and strength, and they actually would love to talk about working out and very interested in it, but just never went and did it. They were spending more time writing or trying to, whatever they were trying to develop, spending a lot of time doing that. If they were actors, they were going to classes or different workshops or going to film school, all these different types of things, just not having time to work out. But I'm here to tell you, if you do start working out, or if you've thought about it, I promise you it's going to be kind of a game changer. I don't care if you're obese. I don't care if you're a toothpick and extremely thin. If you start building strength, it's going to have an effect on you that I think you don't expect. And I even went through that, even being kind of strong. And this isn't from an ego type thing too, but I think partially it is. But I remember I was getting so big. I got up to like 250 pounds. At least for me it was big. And I did that without steroids or anything. And again, this is excessive. I'm not telling you to do that because I don't even think it's that healthy unless you're really being watched and you're doing it properly. And of course, depending on your genetics and what size you are. So if you're already a monster, 250 may not be that big. But if you're someone like me who was kind of small framed, 5'10", originally, to be 250 is kind of heavy. But I remember I got to the point where I'd walk and I'd feel my legs, my hams, or my quads and stuff. They'd move. I'd feel them move. I also remember doing certain things. Like I'd walk down a sidewalk, I started realizing everybody would just get out of my way. And I'd be like, holy shit, how are people looking at me? Which then kind of made me think about how I look or how I'm appearing to other people. But what was really interesting is the bigger and stronger I got, I will admit, the more, I don't want to say relentless in a bad way, but the more of an attitude I had where I felt kind of unstoppable. Now that doesn't mean I'm going to go out and fight or beat the shit out of everybody, because by no means, there's always somebody tougher out there than you, somebody faster than you, stronger than you, all these things. I'm not saying that to go out and get big and strong, that was the reason. I just had an insecurity. I just want to be big and strong and see how far I could take it. I want to see how big my arms could get, how big my legs could get, how big everything could get, and how strong I could get in the gym. It was just something that kept driving me. But if you're somebody who is, like I said, thinking of working out or thinking about building some strength, do it. Because I think a lot of times people don't realize that's going to have a huge impact on other things they're doing. And I think also a belief in themselves. And again, you can even go into yoga, if that's your interest, for instance, and become extremely, not even extremely, but you can become good at it, right? It will, you bring some balance, flexibility, some strength. It changes really the way you feel about yourself. It also changes a lot about like how people perceive you as well. And I know a lot of people are like, oh, I don't give a shit how people perceive me. I'm going to call bullshit on that most likely, because most people, you do care. You may pretend you don't, but a lot of people do care. You really, you want to kind of show people sometimes that you are powerful, you're strong, maybe not only mentally, but physically as well. And I've discussed this on my previous podcast regarding building some strength and power, especially if you've been bullied, which is brutal. I was bullied at a young age, off and on, but it was just like stupid shit. It was more like gang up type things. And I fight my way out of it. But I think anyone, I can't say anyone, but most people get bullied throughout their life. It's just who you run across. It's just going to happen a lot of times, unless you're a monster and people totally fear you. But for the most part, you're going to run across different types of people that are going to try to bully you, and you got to stand up for yourself. In school, it could be in church, it could be anywhere. It could be on your block. It could be relatives, siblings, whatever the case may be. I do think everybody kind of goes through it one way or another. I really do. I don't think anybody comes unscathed from having somebody talk down to them or try to bully them or push them around or fight them, whatever the case may be. But I almost lost my train of thought there for a second. But if you teach yourself, if you're being, how to stand up for yourself and learn that, there's nothing wrong with being, strong. And nothing's wrong with really standing up for yourself and being able to back it. I think sometimes people or society almost makes you feel like, I don't want to get into that actually, but I do think if you are being bullied, I think you need to take initiative to start sticking up for yourself. And if that's taking classes in jiu-jitsu again, I don't care if it's weight training, I don't care, boxing, whatever the case may be, do it. Especially if you feel something inside of you. Because as you get older, you want to be able to protect yourself. And it's not just about you becoming stronger. If you're stronger and you're married, you're there to protect your wife. Or even if you have a girlfriend or a lover, whatever the case may be, you know how to handle yourself. And say you have children. You do not, you never know what's going to happen. You want to be in a situation where you get to protect your family. And, I don't think a lot of people realize that. But you really should think about that. And I'm not, again, telling you to become superhuman. But I do think you taking time out to either work out, build strength, or build a skill where people know they can't fuck with you. Right? That doesn't mean I'm telling you to go fuck with them either. Okay? But you should really start figuring out how to build some strength one way or another, or how to protect yourself. Again, take judo, take whatever you need to take, because it's a game changer again. It's not only going to build confidence, it's going to also, just bring an identity, I think, to yourself that sometimes a lot of people wish they had. They don't want to admit it. And if you want that, go after it. Don't be afraid of that. But I do see a lot of people that are afraid of that. I even have a lot of close friends, even people that I work with. And they're always, Rich, I want to do this, but I don't know. I want to do that. I don't know. Just start somewhere. You want to start building strength. I don't care if you even start doing it, looking at videos on your phone to do stuff at home, even getting in better shape. Your mind and everything is just going to start evolving. You don't know this unless you start this. And the hardest part for a lot of people is just starting. And I also think a lot of people get afraid to say, hey, what happens if I do get into better shape? Because then that means I'm going to have to stick with it forever, and then I'm going to fall out of shape, then in shape. It's a life, it's a commitment for life. I would recommend it being a commitment for life, getting in shape and getting stronger. But forget about thinking way down the road. Just start thinking about doing something 2-3 times a week. Okay? I don't care if you got to go to a boxing class, hit the bag, speed bag, if you spar, and here's something too. If you want to get stronger, hypothetically, or learn how to hold, fight a little bit, you don't have to go in a ring and spar unless you want to. You can go to a gym and just hit the gloves with somebody, a trainer. You may have to pay him or become friends. Same with maybe taking classes at first. I think a lot of people think, oh man, if I go take jiu-jitsu or karate, judo, go to an MMA class or whatever the case may be, man, I'm going to tie it up. They're going to kick the shit out of me. I'm going to be beat up. I'm going to get exposed for being weak. Forget all that shit. They understand who you are. Tell them where you stand. At first, you may not like being in certain positions. Same, even if you go to a boxing gym, hey, you may not like to get hit in the face, right? I get it. One of my closest friends, probably my closest friend, what am I talking about? One of them, my closest friend owns one of the biggest boxing gyms in Chicago. And he does a lot of celebrities. And a lot of celebrities come in there to train, and they don't even spar. They just do they do everything but spar. They hit the mitts because they can't get hit in the face, which is understandable. If that's what you have to start doing, then do it. Same like going into a gym. You don't have to start doing bodybuilding type workouts or powerlifting type workouts or CrossFit type workouts. Get in there, mix it up, see what works for you. Take it slow. You don't even have to get a trainer. Figure things out. Maybe if you hang out with somebody who works out or somebody that does anything that you may like to do, start doing it. Start building that strength. Even if you have to start with something very fun. So like in Florida, I tell people a lot of times, just start off surfing if you like the beach. That's going to get you in unbelievable shape. You don't realize it. It could be whatever you want to do. Start, you could go on the beach again and do some cycling on the sand, or you could do it on the street. You can walk, you can jog, you can power walk, you can go with your friends mountain biking. You don't have to get serious and start doing cycling on the street, or you don't have to get serious and, a lot of people think for them to work out, they have to take on this serious regimen. Is that the word? Sometimes I slur. You don't have to do that shit. You have to start off with shit you like. That's the only way you're going to stick with it. So if you've always wanted to get stronger, fitter, or whatever the case may be, and I discuss this in a lot of my podcasts, go with the things you love to do. It's the only way you're going to stick with it and learn to also evolve and try different things in the meantime. But back to getting stronger. Think about that. Because I can assure you a lot of people out there want to get stronger. And a lot of young guys that I know that are really obsessed with their phones, computers, technology, they're out of shape to a certain degree. They still look good, but as you know, and even video games, they looked hunched. But a lot of them that I talk to, like they're always like, Rich, you're jacked at this age. How'd you get there? It took me decades to get where I'm at, but they don't have to wait decades. You want to build that strength, and I know they do, because what's quite interesting about younger people, especially as they watch Marvel, they see these dudes that are kind of jacked, even though, it's unrealistic. It's the movies a little bit to a certain point, but they know they're in shape. They play a lot of video games. They watch a lot of football, just like everybody else. They see a lot of different athletes getting bigger and stronger, and they like that. A lot of them emulate them. But they're afraid to go do something like that. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to strengthen your body, is basically what I'm saying. Okay? Don't let anybody also talk shit about you. If they talk shit about you in the past, fuck them, move on. Okay? You're a different person every day. And also, and I discussed this in some of my other podcasts, you may have been a horrible athlete in your past. That does not mean you're horrible now. Does that mean you're going to become a superstar? I don't know. But what I am telling you is, don't worry about the past a lot of times. Grade school, middle school, high school, college, or whatever the case may be. You tried out for teams, you got cut, you played sports, you got picked last, all that shit. Don't worry about that. That was the past. You can become something phenomenal in the future. And you can be strong. You can blow people away. I've been doing a lot of podcasts and videos. Most people don't know their true potential because they never developed it. They never evolved. They kind of got stuck in the past thinking that, this is the way it's supposed to be forever. I'm not this. I'm a scrawny person. I'm weak. That's all bullshit. Okay, I promise you. You may be scrawny and weak now. That doesn't mean you have to be forever. Okay, if you don't want to be. Okay, you may be whatever the hell you are. Don't think that's it for you. That's ridiculous. Some people that I know that are the most athletic were people that kind of discovered sports or athletics in their 40s and even 50s. A lot of them I discussed that are teachers, are coaches and trainers. And, they just took it on later in life. And I think a lot of times taking on something, if you're middle-aged and you've been really like, man, I never worked out really before. I just did bullshitty stuff. It's too late. Don't think that at all. I can assure you, you have so much potential. And what's wonderful, and I've discussed this before as well, is if you're middle-aged, you, for the most part, never beat the shit out of your body. Say like someone like me, my tendons and joints and muscles, my lower back, knees, everything. I've been doing weights for so long, it's kind of taken its toll where you're kind of coming fresh. And you have a lot of potential, I promise you. Don't let anybody tell you different. But please, if you're thinking about getting stronger, go for it. I don't even care if you start doing sit-ups, push-ups in your house or apartment or wherever you live. Do it. Okay? Start slow, I tell people. Don't burn yourself out. Don't get obsessed with, jumping into something where you become too fatigued, too sore, you lose interest too quick, you exhaust yourself. No, you want to inspire yourself for every workout. You want to feel better. And of course, you're probably going to get sore, and that's a good thing. Just make sure you're not injuring yourself. But yeah, I'm going to tell you, if you get the mindset that it is time to get stronger, it's also going to show other people, like I said earlier, that you're not messing around, and you will not be, you are one to be reckoned with. You're going to set a different path. I can't emphasize this enough, that when you start building strength, not only does it, physically change you, it mentally changes you. It's a big deal. It's a really big deal. So I'm going to leave it at that. If you'd like, check out my YouTube channel. I've been doing a lot of different things on fitness, not only me working out, but me talking about things like this. And I really was thinking today, I travel a ton, and I'm always working on, I'm doing different things, but I always have the mindset to move forward, and nothing can stop me. Sometimes mentally I get stopped because I'm not always the sharpest tool in the shed. Some things I excel in and some I don't. But from a physical standpoint, one is I believe I never get sick, and I believe one of the reasons I believe I never get sick is because I'm strong. I'm not, again, saying I'm the strongest guy in the world or even the strongest person around or whatever. I just know I know I could be stronger. I always feel like I could be stronger. And I'm probably about a third of the strength that I used to be. So I'm actually weaker than I've ever been, because now I'm 50 and I could tell I'm trying to keep it up the best I can, and I'm just declining. But I'm still stronger than probably, 99% of the people maybe my age, especially for someone who's clean and not taking any steroids, or I don't even take vitamins or anything. But I know no matter what, I'm strong if I have to go through anything physically, walking, traveling, whatever the case may be. I know my body is behind me. And when you know your body's behind you and it's strong, it's a game changer, because I think a lot of people think, oh my God, they have the mindset, I'm going to get sick, or I physically won't be able to handle this. I've taken that and said, F you. Because when I go do things with people, now I'm not saying real athletes, but if you said, hey, Rich, let's go surfing, I can hold my own a little bit. Not that I'm a good surfer, but I can go surf. If you said, let's go mountain biking, I can do it. If you're very advanced, it'd be hard for me to keep up. But if you're the average Joe out there that likes to do that, I can keep up with you. I'm not good at running, but I can jog with you. Whatever it is physical, I can jump in the mix a lot of times if somebody else has been doing it, and I can hold my own. And no matter what they're doing, like I was just explaining, I believe I'm strong enough to handle it. Okay, like even I just recently took a yoga class, and I haven't taken yoga in a long time, and I'm going to start taking more of it. I went through the class, and yeah, I was a little shaky here and there because I haven't done it in a while, but I held my own. But in my mind, I said, I can handle this class. I can do this, man. When you start getting physically strong, you're going to start believing in yourself on many different levels. Okay, it's just going to have a different type of mindset. And even if you say you got to stay up real late, or somebody wants you to do something, you're going to be like, you know what? Physically, my body can handle this. I am so much stronger. I am strong. You're not going to be thinking the opposite, like a lot of people think, like, oh my God, I'm weak, or if I do this, it's going to make me sick, or I'm going to be fatigued, or tomorrow I'm going to be too sore, or now this is going to ruin my whole weekend, or I'm going to get sick. No, get rid of that mindset. Learn to build strength and get strong. It's going to go so far. It's going to blow you away. At least that's my perspective. It's worked for me. That's the only reason I say this. It may or may not work for you, but I can assure you your body would love to probably be stronger than it is, because it has the potential to do that. I believe everyone does, if that's what they want. All right. You can also, I'm on LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. I got a Mastering Self-Confidence program out there. You can check that all out, masteringselfconfidence.com, richcelenza.com. I get into some of that stuff as well about, a mindset of building strength. But yeah, that's really all I got for you today. Take care, and if you're traveling, safe travels.